Shana Broch, of course I remember you.
It's okay.
Faces I remember.
You used to know me.
And voices I remember. I remember your voice, but names I don't remember. If I don't see a person regularly for a long time, I don't remember their name.
You used to know me as a mathematician, now I'm an accountant.
There you go. One thing leads to another. What's your last name?
Benedict.
One time my brother, Oliver Sholem, was walking with his wife and met an old family friend, a friend of my parents. Oh, hello, Mrs. Rohr, my brother said. You remember my wife, don't you? She said, call me Florence. He went blank. They've only been married 25 years.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It happens. Okay. Well, this is Rachel. Rachel, please raise your hands. Identify yourself. The Shena Bracha. Rachel is currently from Vancouver, formerly from Prince Edward Island. From sea to shining sea. And Michal from Venezuela, Caracas. Correct? Okay. We're learning chapter 12. You need a book. Do we have an extra book?
It's from the first one.
Here's a book for you.
Okay, Rachel gave me one.
Huh?
Rachel just gave me one.
Chapter 12 is a key book, an essential book, some essential chapter in the Tanya. It concludes a whole section leading up to it, with finally describing for us who and what is the Beinoni. And so he has described to this point in the chapter that at certain special times, which we've discussed in great detail, like in the morning davening, or when you say Kriya Shema, and you're just focusing on the greatness of Hashem, a person is really on the level of a tzaddik. However, after davening, the lights dim, and the Yetzer Hara comes charging back. When the person is in an elevated spiritual state, the Yetzer Hara runs, vacates its home, its natural place in the left side of the heart. And the love that a person feels in the right side of his heart spills over into the left. But then after davening, the Yetzer Hara comes charging back. And now he said, how is a person supposed to deal with this? So the Alter Rebbe brings in the first fundamental principle of Hasidism, that one's mind can rule over one's heart and must do so. And therefore, a person always has the power when a person is overwhelmed with disturbing thoughts or inappropriate thoughts, negative thoughts. A person has the power to think about something else. You always have the power to think about something else. And therefore, you should prepare topics, things that you know by heart, that you can keep repeating to yourself until you calm down. Or things that are much more important to you. And therefore, by thinking of them, you can't think of two things at once. I had a friend when I lived in England. He used to say he has no trouble with strange thoughts during davening. When we daven, that's often a time when people have strange thoughts. You ever notice when you go to daven, you think about all kinds of things that are unrelated to your davening? Because this is a calm moment. And during the day, you're so busy, you don't have time to think about all these things. like your relationship with so-and-so, or your roommate, or the mortgage, or the dentist, or whatever it may be, or the sale at Bloomingdale's, or the storybook that you were reading in the novel, or the movie that you saw, or the play, or the book that you read. So you don't have time to think about these things. When you're davening, you're not thinking about anything else. You can think about all these wonderful things. Places you've been. The mind goes on its own way. Some people, after davening, they feel like they should bench goimel because they've been all over the world. Here's Danny Hess. Hi, Danny. So therefore, in these calm moments, your mind will tend to think of all kinds of things that are really nonsense compared to the importance of what you're supposed to be doing. So the Alter Rebbe is telling us here at this point, a person, so this friend of mine in England, he said he never has problems with strange thoughts like this because all he does, he concentrates on the meaning of the words that he's saying. When he finds his mind wandering, he comes back to the words themselves. Forget about any higher thoughts. Just concentrate on the meaning of the words. Reb Zusha, the famous Reb Zusha of Anipol, he actually used to take him hours to daven. He was such a big tzaddik, he would daven for hours. You think the boys in Holy Torah daven much faster than that. They daven like the speed of light. Anyway, he would take him out because he would translate every word he said into Yiddish, which was his native language. So you could do the same thing, only you use English or Spanish if you will. Good morning, Esther Baylor. Are you feeling better?
I'm going to the doctor today.
You're going to the doctor again. How come you're the only one? Well, you said if you had food poisoning, nobody else.
It's like, I don't think it's food poisoning at this point anymore. It's still hurting. Like,
Also, she could be eating different food than us.
You don't have a different diet, do you?
no.
No. Okay, I'm just going to say a bracha. So when a person will concentrate at this point on the meaning of the words or on the kinds of thoughts that we've discussed about the greatness of Hashem, that he fills the whole world with life, think about the life that is in everything, then all those strange thoughts run away. So the bottom of page 182, he says here, the person has the power to direct his thoughts wherever he wants them to be, and especially he can direct them to the realms of holiness. And this is what King Solomon says to us. I saw that wisdom is the highest intellectual quality, right? Wisdom, I saw that wisdom surpasses folly as light surpasses darkness. You get it? Wisdom is Chachma. Chachma has an advantage over foolishness. We don't use the word folly. Foolishness. Wisdom is better than foolishness, like light is better than darkness. And this is a great mashal, a great parable, a great metaphor, because turning over the page 183, looking over to the right side of the page, Perush, Kamosha or Yeshla Yisrin, just like light has an advantage over darkness, in that it rules over the darkness. How does light rule over anything? Well, turn on the light, the darkness runs away. Extraordinary phenomenon. Where does the darkness go? It doesn't go anywhere, it just disappears. So wisdom, a wise thought, a godly thought, is so powerful that a foolish thought will disappear. And that's called shlita. Shlita is rulership. the light rules over the darkness. Umemshala, and that's also another word for sovereignty. Memshala Allah Hashem, over the darkness, which we see in actual fact, Shema'at or Gashmi, that even a little bit of physical light, Doiche Harba Mina Cheshech, will push away. Elizabeth says it doesn't go anywhere. He says it pushes it away. Well, where does it end up getting pushed to? It pushes away a great deal of darkness. Shenidcha Mimenu, and here's an important point in the analogy, that it happens automatically. It's effortless. You know, Shane, the bracha, when you take off your hat, you're much more recognizable.
I apologize.
When your hat disguises a good disguise.
Yeah. And I got my camouflage on as well, so.
Shema'at or Gashi, remember the story I told you last week about the previous Rebbe when he was about 11 years old and he was thrown in prison and he was an hour in the pitch darkness, couldn't see a thing, just heard this person groaning in pain and he was frightened. So what did he do? He reviewed Mishnayos that he had learned by heart. That's what's such a good thing to know by heart. To know things by heart. You should be learning every day a line or two. Michal, a line or two every day from Tanya, right? Tanya, we learned in the third chapter of Nida, right? That when before a person is born, they make him swear an oath that you should be righteous and you shouldn't be wicked. That's the first line of the Tanya. Learn it. Learn it by heart. Tomorrow you should come in knowing it by heart. And then you'll go on, you'll learn a second line by heart until you build. So he learned for an hour chapters of the Mishnah that could take a person years to learn them, but he was a clever boy. He was more than a clever boy. He was a genius, and he was the son of a Rebbe, and he was already does a Rebbe become a Rebbe, or is he a Rebbe all his life? Just he doesn't have an official position until he becomes the Rebbe. Well, actually, he became the Rebbe when he was 16. His father had not passed away yet, but his father was going away for health reasons, and they said, and he said that your life is in peril because you're very weak. And he thought, I'll go to Eretz Yisrael. I will go to Israel. I'll live in Israel. And the Hasidim said, well, who's going to lead us? He said, my son will lead you. He will be the Rebbe. He was 16 years old. Previous Rebbe was 16 years old. So here he was about 9 or 10, and he was in jail, and he was frightened. So he reviewed by heart an hour of Mishnayos. So it would take an ordinary person, even if he knew them all by heart, it would take him an hour and a half to say them. But the previous Rebbe said it very, very fast. After an hour, he remembered he had some matches. Little boy had some matches in his pocket, and he lit the match. He wasn't afraid anymore. He saw that the person who was lying there groaning in pain was not a person, it was a little lamb that was tied up, that had been stolen by the policeman, that had arrested him and thrown in the prison cell in the basement of the police station. And he was there together with the little lamb. When he returned home, his father praised him. His mother was so sorry for him, smothered him in kisses and hugs and kisses for her poor baby. But his father wasn't like that at all. His father said, you did a good thing. You had self-sacrifice. You risked your well-being in order to help a fellow Jew because he attacked a policeman. And you were thrown in jail, and you learned Torah for an hour. If you hadn't learned Torah for an hour, what would have been the difference between you and the lamb? The lamb also didn't say any Torah for an hour, but you did. So you see, just one little match chased away the darkness. That's the point here, that it chases away the darkness. It pushes it away automatically, effortlessly. So it's driven away. In the same way, chachma, wisdom, a wise idea, a wise idea in godliness about the truth of Hashem, that Hashem fills the whole world with life, just that thought, or that Hashem rotates the stars and the planets that move effortlessly, silently through the sky. Tremendous power that he has. So that thought pushes away all the nonsense that a person might be thinking about the sale in Bloomingdale's. Who's interested in Bloomingdale's? Schmoomingdale's. Who needs it? So it's automatically the wise thought drives away klippa and sitra achra, which means that's Aramaic for the other side, meaning the Yetzer Hara, which dwells on the left side of the heart. Turn the page, 184. As our sages teach us, Kamaimer Chazal, Zichronim Livrocha. Chazal means Chachamenu Zichrenam Livrocha, our sages of blessed memory. Elohim Kein Nichnas Berushtus. Now here, this is a thought, it's a very important thought to know. Another fundamental basic thought that comes up over and over, not just what every Maimer you're going to read. It's taught, it's actually written down in the Gemara in the name of Rabbi Akiva. He's the one who teaches this thought, Rabbi Akiva. Famous Rabbi Akiva. He says, no sane person would ever do something wrong unless they went crazy. Why do such a crazy thing? I guess I was crazy. I must have been crazy to do this. How many people sitting in jail say to them over and over again every single day, I must have been crazy, I must have been crazy. Thursday, I met an old colleague, former employer. He told me that when his grandfather, when the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, invaded Austria, his grandfather was a Rebbe. He was there, he was arrested, together with other people. And he was in jail, and there was a person, there was a Jew in jail, and he was knocking his head against the wall. And he said, why are you doing this? It's bad enough that they arrested us. Why are you punishing yourself? He says, because I took a non-Jewish lady, a girl, woman, to be my wife, and she turned me into the police. And that's why I'm knocking myself. Why did I do it? I must have been crazy. You see? So that's what Rabbi Akiva says. A person would never do something wrong except that a spirit of foolishness and craziness compels him to do it. So a person would never commit murder or adultery or steal or feel jealous of somebody else. Or let's move to a higher level, break Shabbos. Unless a spirit of folly or worship an idol, who would do such a stupid thing as that? To worship a statue made of stone or wood. People used to take their statues and leave them outside their house. There's a house that I walk by every day, where they built a statue out of wood and they put it up on the front lawn. But if they made that statue out of gold, they wouldn't put it on the front lawn, they'd keep it inside. So who would worship an idol that you have to protect it? You want your God to protect you, not you have to protect your valuable statue. Foolishness, craziness. So our Rebbe Akiva says, yes, a person would never worship an idol except for a spirit of folly, stupidity that enters into him. There's a story about Avram Avinu, our father, the first Jew, that his father made a lot of money, very, very wealthy. His father was very wealthy. How did he make his money? He manufactured idols. He had a big factory. And everybody bought us. He had idols for every income. If you didn't have much money, he had less expensive idols. If you had a lot of money, oh, he could make you a beautiful idol with gold and silver and diamonds and jewels and really gorgeous. Very wealthy. One time he went out and he left his son Avram in charge of the store, the factory. Comes someone rings the bell. He goes to the door. There's a woman with a plate of food. He says, "What's this?" She says, "It's food. I brought it as an offering for the idol." Avram said, "This idol, my father made it last week. You think it's going to eat the food?" I'm not making this up. This is a medrash. This is teachings of our sages. She said, "Well, this is what I do. It brings me good luck." Oy, he says, "This idol can't do anything. Can't move from its spot. And you think it's going to, well, what am I going to do with the food?" He says, "Give me the food." So he takes the food. He puts the food down in front of a very big idol. And he takes a big stick and he breaks all the other idols. A fortune. He breaks a fortune worth of idols. He smashes them all. And the big idol he leaves with the stick. He puts the stick by the big idol. His father comes home and sees the mess. He says, "What happened? This represents hundreds of thousands of dollars that he destroyed." He said the idols had a fight. So what do you mean? He says, a woman brought some food. It was really, really good. And they all started fighting over it. And the big idol took a stick and bashed them all. He got so angry. He says, "You expect me to believe that?" He says, "Well, you believe it, don't you? You worship them." That's what, you know what the word iconoclast means? An iconoclast, Esther Vela, here's some education. Iconoclast. Do you know what it means? Okay, you know what an icon is? What's an icon?
Like someone who does something else.
That's a pretty good definition. Icon is someone who does something like. Okay, I know exactly what you mean. An icon is a statue. An icon is an image that represents an idea. That's in the computer language. And the original meaning of the word, look it up in your Google, on your phone, I-C-O-N, icon. Means a statue. An iconoclast means someone who breaks the statues. Jewish people have been throughout the ages iconoclasts. They're revolutionaries in every generation. That's like they're real troublemakers. They are revolutionaries. They are always breaking down the statues of the false ideas of the society. So his father got very angry at him, and his father had connections with the king. He took him to the king, and the king was Nimrod. He was a very powerful person, very, very powerful. He could take Biden and Putin and put them all in his back pocket. And he said, what's this all about? And he said, "You believe in idols, I believe in God. The one invisible God is the real creator of heavens and earth." Esther Bailey, you with me? It was very important what I'm telling you now. So Nimrod said, "Well, you believe in an invisible God. I believe in the God of fire. That's my God. It's the most powerful thing. We'll see how your God does against my God." And he ordered a scene that would be repeated later in the times of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They heated up the furnace, big, huge furnace, so hot, hotter than it had ever been. It was so hot that the servants who were stoking the fire themselves perished from the heat. They caught fire. And they took Avram and they threw him into the furnace, the fiery furnace. That was the first hint of what his children and great-grandchildren would undergo in Auschwitz and throughout the ages. And they looked in to see what was happening. Was he had he been reduced to ashes, to dust and ashes? No, he was strolling around with other creatures, other people inside this fire. And Nimrod was shocked and terrified. What was it? They were angels, and he was having a stroll in heaven, in the Garden of Eden. Because he had such self-sacrifice for the oneness of God, Hashem made this miracle that nature had no effect on him. He was higher than nature, higher than the laws of nature. He had a brother. Avram had a brother. His brother had a daughter. Her name was Sarai. Eventually, Avram married her, his niece. A man is allowed to marry his niece even today. A woman is not allowed to marry her nephew. A man is allowed to marry his niece. Haran was his brother. They came to Haran and they said to him, whose side are you on? You believe in Nimrod or you believe in Avram? He says, well, I don't know, let's see. He said, okay. So when Avram came out, they let him out of the furnace. They turned to Haran and they said, whose side are you on? He says, I believe in the God of Abraham. They said, very good. They threw him in the furnace and he burned up like a twig. How come? He had self-sacrifice. Abraham had self-sacrifice. Abraham said he believes in one invisible God and he was higher than nature. His brother Aaron said he believed in one invisible God and he burned up like a twig. Why? Because he said, let's wait and see. Because he wanted it to enter his intellect that he would understand. So if you're on that level, then you're not higher than the laws of nature. So he burned up. So this is a story about the foolishness of idol worship. Why would a person ever believe that something manufactured by man could protect you? Why would a person put a statue on his front yard that would protect him from thieves? Why would they be afraid of a lifeless piece of wood? Foolishness. So Rabbi Akiva says a person would never do a transgression except for a spirit of foolishness and stupidity that enters his heart. So we have two fundamental principles here that we've learned. Number one is that the foolishness leads a person to sin. If you have a strong temptation to do something that you know is wrong, you were taught that it was wrong. Your teachers told you it was wrong. You read in the books that it was wrong. Your parents told you that it was wrong. And now you're being tested. You feel a tremendous desire to do it. You think it's going to work out. Your friends come and tell you, let's invest in this particular stock. Now, this happens to people who have money. We're going to make a fortune. It's going to go up. And you put your money into it. You see, some of your friends bought into this stock when it was cheap and they made a lot of money. And now you're putting your money into this stock. And guess what? It goes right back down and you lose everything, right? Remember Gutnick with his stocks 20 years ago? He was convincing everybody to invest in his stocks and they all lost their money. Why did they put so much money in one stock? Because they were foolish. It was foolishness, wasting their money. So the desire to earn money, there was a guy in the time of the Rebbe Maharash, Rebbe Shmuel, fourth Rebbe. He was in business. He was a man in business. And his friends came to him. He says, we have a deal. We're going to make a fortune. Why don't you come in with us? He says, I don't do business without asking a blessing from the Rebbe. So he went to the Rebbe Shmuel and he said, should I go in with these guys? He said, no, don't do it. They came back to him and they said, no, are you in with us? He said, no, the Rebbe said not to do it. So you think they would say, well, the Rebbe said, don't do it. We'll also stay away from it. No, they said, no, this is airtight. We're going to make a killing. Come on. What does the Rebbe know? He's not a businessman. He's a Rebbe. Go ask him again. He goes back. He asks the Rebbe a second time. Should I go into this deal with these guys? They say they're going to make a fortune. They say we've got it all covered. The Rebbe said, no, it's not for you. It's not for you. He goes back and he tells them again. And he said, maybe you didn't explain it properly. Go back a third time. Explain it to the Rebbe really carefully, the way we're going to explain it to you, and you'll see that he'll agree. The Rebbe told him a third time, don't go there. Don't go there. Came back to his friends, and his friends said, you know what? A Rebbe can make a mistake, you know. He's only human. A Rebbe can make a mistake. Go into this deal with us. You'll make a lot of money. You'll give a big donation to the Rebbe, and he'll forgive you that you didn't listen. He'll forgive you. And so he did. Was that wise? Was that wise? Sure enough, he lost everything. He lost everything. He's not the only one. It's not the only story like this. He came back to the Rebbe. He says, now what do? I lost everything. I put all my money into this deal. That's a spirit of foolishness. I put all my money in this deal. Now I lost everything. The Rebbe said, there are three kinds of attitudes that Hasidim have. Some people think that a Rebbe is just a human being, but he's very smart. So he's very smart. Some people think he's more than smart. He's a person of Torah. And whatever he tells you, he's basing on his deep understanding of Torah. Not just street-wise, business-wise. He's Torah-wise. The Torah understands this is not a wise way to proceed in life. There's a third attitude that Hasidim have. Some Hasidim don't just think the Rebbe is smart. They don't just think that the Rebbe knows a lot of Torah, so he gives you good advice. They understand that when the Rebbe speaks, Hashem is speaking. The Rebbe has Ruach HaKodesh, he has holy inspiration, and he doesn't say anything that Hashem himself wouldn't say. Whichever level you're on, said the Rebbe, you should have listened. Level 1, level 2, level 3 were all good reasons to listen to what I was telling you. The similar story about a guy who didn't listen to his Rebbe. This is from Arjun. That was from 150 years ago. I heard a story about a guy from our generation, lived in Chicago. And he didn't listen to our Rebbe. And he lost all his money. And he came to the Rebbe. And he thought he was so embarrassed because he didn't listen to the Rebbe. And now he lost all his money. He came to the Rebbe and he was so embarrassed. The Rebbe said, no. What do you have to say to yourself? He says, Rebbe, I want to tell you a story. The Rebbe liked him very much. So he said, no, what's your story? He says, once there was a guy who was a thief in the village. And he used to break into people's houses by coming down the chimney. And one time he came down the chimney of the rabbi. In the middle of the night, Michal, are you awake with me or asleep?
I'm asleep. At least she's honest. I don't hear the story.
You don't like the stories?
I love the stories.
Okay, so this thief broke into the house of the rabbi, and to his surprise, instead of being asleep in bed, like most people were, this rabbi was up learning. And he comes down the chimney. It must have been summertime. There was no fire in the fireplace. He comes down the chimney. He's all dirty. And there's the rabbi. The rabbi says, what are you doing here? He looks at the rabbi and he says, I have a question for the rabbi. I have a question for the rabbi. I want to ask the rabbi a question. He says you wanted to ask me a question, so you came down the chimney. He says, yeah, what's your question? He says, how do I get out of this? So the Rebbe laughed. Remember, this guy telling the story to the Rebbe because he didn't listen to the Rebbe. The Rebbe laughed. So these are just examples of how the spirit of folly, which is the Yetzer, another term for the Yetzer Hara. Who teaches us? Rabbi Akiva teaches us. This is the Yetzer Hara enters the heart of the left side of the heart of a person, and he convinces him with his lies that he should do something stupid. And a person would never do a sin, says Rabbi Akiva, unless he listened to the spirit of stupidity in his heart. But you should know, if it's against the Torah, it's the Yetzer Hara. If the Rebbe says don't do it, you don't do it. If the Shulchan Aruch says don't do it, you don't do it. If a person has to go out Shabbos in the morning and everybody's going out and he doesn't know how he's going to get back in the house if he doesn't take a key, and he forgot to make a belt, a Shabbos belt. So what is he going to do? Takes his key and puts it in his pocket. Who's going to know? No one's going to know. But you're carrying on Shabbos. I met a guy early, long time ago. He was so knowledgeable about everything in Yiddishkeit, and he wasn't keeping Shabbos. He would come to visit my friend on Shabbos, not keeping Shabbos. And my friend told me, you know why he lost his whole belief in Yiddishkeit? Because his father, who was frum and brought him up to be frum, his father used to carry a key on Shabbos and think nobody's going to know. It's just a little avera. It's just a little sin, not a big sin. It's a little sin. He's not robbing a bank. He's not beating anybody up. He's not committing adultery. It's a little sin. He's carrying a key in his pocket. It's an avera. His father didn't believe in God. That's the spirit of foolishness that you listen to. That's the Yetzer Hara. The spirit of foolishness is the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is the angel of death. He seduces you, and later he accuses you in the heavenly court after 120 years. He said, how do you know? How do you know I did all these things? He said, because I was with you. I was with you all the time. I saw you do it. He becomes the witness in court against you, and he becomes the chief high executioner to carry out your punishment. The spirit of folly, that's the Yetzer Hara. That's the one who seduces you. He is the witness against you. He is the angel of death. He is the one who will punish you. Okay? So says Rabbi Akiva, let's get back to the basics. It's the spirit of folly that enters your heart. And your wisdom, which is your knowledge of God from Torah, that will push away the foolishness like a little light, like a little match, pushes away the darkness automatically. The wisdom is the highest level, Chachma. We learned this wisdom, Chachma, chapter 3, Tanya. Chachma is wisdom. It's the highest level of your intellect. It pushes away the darkness and the foolishness of the Yetzer Hara. And the wisdom in your heart desires, in your godly soul, the wisdom in is a faculty of your godly soul, which desires to rule over you. Your godly soul wants to rule over you. Remember how this all started, this whole discussion, that there's a war going on in your heart. It's not between Hamas and the Israelis. It's between the left side of your heart and the right, between your Yetzer Hara and your Yetzer Tov. That's where the real war is taking place. And the desire of your Yetzer Tov, of the good guys in your heart, is that they should rule over the Holy Land, which is you. You are the Holy Land. And should have control of the three garments by which the godly soul expresses itself. And these three garments, Esther Bailey will be the first one to tell you they are thought, speech, and action. See, she's with it. She's with the class, not sleeping. It's okay. If I was listening to this class, I'd probably fall asleep too. But I don't fall asleep because I'm talking. You can't talk and fall asleep at the same time. But once I did, once I was teaching, I worked on camp. When I worked on campus, it was a very demanding schedule because I had to be putting up posters till 2:00 in the morning, and then be up in the minyan at 6:37 in the morning, and then teach a class in the afternoon. And sometimes it was freezing cold weather. You had to walk through the wind and snow to get to the building where the classes were being taught. And I was teaching this class, and I was so tired. And all of a sudden, I see the students like this in front of me, moving from side to side in the class. I couldn't focus on them. I couldn't remember what sentence I was in the middle of saying. And Mom, I fell asleep standing on my feet in the middle of talking to them. And I started saying foolish things that made no sense, mumbling and jumbling my sentences together because my mind I couldn't focus. Anyway, but most times you can't talk and sleep at the same time. Anyway, here we are. The godly soul seeks to rule over the city, which is you, that's your heart, and that's your whole being, and to express itself in the thought, speech, and action of the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah. And the Yetzer Hara is waging war against you to prevent it from happening. He wants you to think his thoughts and to speak his talk, talk his talk, and walk his walk. I'm going to stop there. Chaim. Esther Bay, was it a good class today? So. What would you rate out of 10? I hope I pass.
I got the topic that.
Esther Bailey, you're a hoot.
The story of the Rebbe Maharaj, the story about the Rebbe Maharaj, was he the one who didn't listen, or what his friends
No,
didn't listen?
the puzzle, his follower didn't listen.
Okay, yeah.
His follower didn't listen. So he explained to him there are three kinds of Hasidim. There are three kinds of attitudes in Hasidim towards the Rebbe. Some people think the Rebbe is very, very smart. So he's a good person to ask his advice.
Right.
Some people think he's a man of so steeped in Torah, he's not giving you personal advice. He's telling you what the Torah would say. And the third attitude is that the Rebbe is holy. He doesn't say anything Hashem wouldn't say. He has holy inspiration. Whichever level you are on, level 1, level 2, level 3, you should have listened.
Okay, so the Rebbe Maharaj, he was the Rebbe at that time.
Yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood that because I thought it was.
Okay, Toam didn't make it. Sarah is here. Sarah, why are you coughing so much today? Did you catch a cold? She left. Hanabina is not here. Danny Hess was here. Ariel not. Nicole not. Shana Bracha, yes. Miriam. What's your last name, Miriam? Greenberger? Goldberger. We have, I think, one Goldberger family here in Crown Heights. Do you know them?
No, they're not related to me. Are they Chabad?
Yeah.
Yeah, not related to me.
Goldberger. Okay. Well, we're glad to have you.
Thanks.
Under any circumstances. And I'm going to say a bracha achreina. Girls, it's a good habit to get into. When I came to Chabad and they taught me to say blessings, they told me I should learn these blessings by heart. And then years later, I found out that the Rebbe says you should, you see, the Rebbe always says a blessing in a siddur. He never says by heart. Then the Rebbe Farbrengen, the Rebbe takes a siddur, opens it up, says a blessing in the siddur. So obviously that's a better way to do it. For nefashos rabos b'chesed nano k'amar shemaras Allah hayes b'hem nefesh kol chai baruch elamim. The advantage to saying a bracha in a siddur is afterwards, you don't remember, you don't have a question, did I say it or not? Does that ever happen to you, Shana bracha? That you don't remember if you said a bracha?
No, I don't think
No?
that's ever happened.
You know why? Because when you say a bracha, it's a shame bracha.